Hello everyone and welcome back to the Suzanne and Sarah YouTube channel. I'm Suzanne Moore, realtor here in beautiful sunny Bend, Oregon with Realty One Group Discovery and the founder of the Central Oregon Investor Network, which brings together investors not only from Central Oregon but from all over the country to learn from one another, share resources, and create more freedom in our lives through passive income and real estate investments. So today, we are answering the question, can I turn a piece of raw land into something awesome, like a tiny home, a glamping site, or a Hipcamp setup that actually makes money? We get this question all the time. You are not alone if you are wondering this. And this is really for the freedom focused investors out there who really want to make their land work for them and don't want to deal with a 12-month build or a spec home and a cookie cutter development. So we'll talk about the pros and cons, the red tape, and the potential ROI of using raw land for any one of these uses. So here's the idea. Instead of sitting on that raw land, just paying your taxes and waiting for someday, you can turn it into income generating property by adding one or more tiny homes, glamping tents, which are basically like those fancy safari tents, or you can do a yurt or a dome, or private land listings on Hipcamp for people that want to camp somewhere that's actually cool. And honestly, there's a lot to love about this strategy. So let's start with the pros. First one is the entry costs are way lower than a full development. Raw land is generally cheaper, and a glamping tent or a tiny home. Glamping tent is more like 40. You could start at 40. Tiny home, probably up to 150K all in. So that is absolutely peanuts compared to building a spec home. And two, you can start small and scale. Set up one unit, test it, reinvest the income, and add more. So you're not locked into this massive upfront project. Number three, people really want these kinds of stays. They want to have an experience, and guests will pay $200 plus a night to sleep in a dome in the woods if it's got the right vibe and it's well done. So if it is Instagrammable, it is 100% bookable. And number four, you've got multiple revenue streams. For short-term rental income, Hipcamp bookings, events, retreats, you can totally get creative. I mean, weddings, there's all kinds of opportunity here. And number five, exit options. You can always sell the property turnkey, rezone it later. We'll talk about zoning in a second, or just continue to hold it for that long-term appreciation while it cash flows now. So let's get real. It's not all campfires and passive income. There are downsides and red tape that you'll need to know about. And number one, as you probably guessed it, is zoning. You have to check with local zoning and land use rules because some counties totally love these creative uses and others will hit you with a cease and desist the minute a guest shows up with the s'mores kit. Number two, infrastructure is not optimal. So you'll need access, utilities. You probably need a septic, a composting toilet, or like a porta potty. You're going to need water for these folks. So if you don't have a well on the property, how are you getting water? And access in terms of like a road or a driveway. So just because the land is cheap does not mean that the setup will be cheap, because adding a septic and a well is going to run you in the multiple thousands. Number three, seasonality. We know, generally people are looking to camp in the summer. So the question you have to ask yourself is, will people actually book it year round? And if your land is buried under 6 inches of snow in the winter, yeah, maybe you just want to be honest about your market. Number four, it's a hospitality business. Someone's got to clean, manage bookings, restock toilet paper, or you're going to have to pay someone to do it. So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. There is some active in the passive income here. Number five, financing is tricky. We tell this to a lot of buyers who come to us and they're like, oh, land is so cheap, I'm going to do that. And they think they can get a loan. Generally, you cannot get a loan on raw land. Banks just don't love raw land, and they don't love tents. So you'll likely need to pay cash, bring in partners, or get creative with private money. So what about ROI? Is it worth it? So a tiny home can bring in 30 to 80K per year, depending on the market, the setup, and how you run it. You will have expenses. A glamping tent often rents for 125 to 350 a night. And if you're booked for 68 to 80% of the time in the peak season, that's some solid revenue. So net returns of 20 to 30% annually are absolutely doable if you manage it well and own the land. And that is not what you're getting with a traditional long-term rental these days. So, should you do it? If you are a creative investor, you're sitting on raw land or just dreaming of owning something that might cash flow and get you out of nature, this should totally be in your lane. But go in with your eyes wide open. You're going to need a plan, a budget, a little grit, some willingness to deal with the county for those fun things around zoning. So, to wrap it up here today, turning raw land into a tiny home or glamping tent is not just a lifestyle fantasy. It can be a legit business strategy with some good returns. It lets you be part of the movement towards simplicity, sustainability, and experience over things, which is really what people are craving. If you want our help evaluating a piece of land for this kind of setup, help with understanding zoning and ordinances, or if you're just looking for a plug and play strategy, then you know where to find us. We help clients with these types of things all the time, and we definitely geek out on these kind of deals. So we'd be happy to take a look. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. If you want more real estate ideas that break the mold, and please drop us a comment. Would you stay in a dome in the woods with a view and a composting toilet? Or are you just more like, give me a hotel or Airbnb? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you on the next one.